Women Speaking Sports RBA is live right now. We've got a lot going on. We have so much to talk about today. I'm joined with Steph B, Lisa, Dr. Danny, and Danielle Fitzhugh. Ladies, let's get right into it because we have no other option but to. Let's start with Ben and Brady's retirement.
For some, people were saying it's too soon. For others, we were saying this is about the right time.
Who's saying it's too soon though?
She's not here.
Oh no, I mean for Brady. I think
so.
We knew Brady needed to.
Brady was, I think, too soon for a lot of people. They
Right.
thought they had one more year with it.
Right.
What does the man need? A rollator and a walker out there?
He's going on top.
He is.
What else does he need
And
to
for
do?
good reason. He's leaving for a good reason. He's not, there's no controversy involved.
That we know about.
Well, let's hope. Let's hope so far.
Dr. Danny with the pessimism.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, realism, you just don't know what you don't know.
Absolutely.
Maybe he knows.
Maybe.
I'm just saying.
With Ben, I do think that it was time. I do think that it was time.
Oh, a Steelers fan saying
When
that?
it comes to
We're Steelers
Brady,
fans. Roethlisberger was a player that we
Oh,
love.
okay.
right?
But we are Steelers fans.
We're Steelers
Oh,
fans.
okay.
When it comes to Brady, I have a
a.
very unpopular opinion when it comes to Brady.
Oh, let's hear it.
I'm not gonna lie. And I know for those Brady fans out there, Carrie is unfortunately not here with us this evening. She may pop in. So I'm just gonna go ahead.
So you're gonna
say
be
it.
you're gonna be Carrie tonight, or you're gonna be inside?
And Becca, my
And
best friend
Becca,
Becca is here. She's a Brady fan. But when it comes to Brady and Ben, I personally believe it's NFL etiquette to wait for something this big until after the Super Bowl. So I personally believe that these announcements should have waited until after the Super
This
Bowl.
is sounding a little snowflakey to me.
No. I really do believe that. And then,
Tell us more.
Yeah. My generation X is showing up. Look at what this is about.
when it comes to the Super Bowl is something that it's the most watched televised program of the year, pretty much. Everybody's excited for it. Either you have the halftime show that you're excited for, the game that you're excited for, or the commercials. And we love those commercials, especially Budweiser and the West.
Okay, I have to stop you because Tom Brady at least waited until he got his 15 million. So when you talk about, waiting, his news,
Right.
his stuff will be gone by the time we get to the 13th.
Yeah.
It won't be affecting the news, but he waited until what you wait to do, got his bonus.
And
I
then,
mean,
yeah.
it leaked out. He didn't like how it went. He wasn't in control of the message, but he waited until his 15 million hit the bank, and then he said, I'm
See
out.
ya.
Do you feel it's distracting?
I do feel like it is distracting. I'm personally not a Tom Brady fan, right? But when I read his retirement speech, per se, it left no chance for me to be a Tom Brady fan because I personally did not like how throughout the entire speech, he did not mention the
Doesn't
Patriots.
have to. I knew you were gonna say
but
that.
But here's the thing, that is exactly why I feel when certain people get to a certain height in their career, that they forget where they come from. I personally
He
really
owes them
feel.
nothing.
Yeah, that was.
He owes them
That was his job at the time. Are you
Mhm.
talking about your last job that you left or
Yeah.
you got fired from? No.
No.
You ain't got no love for
That's
He
that.
spent a
very
lot
good
of
point.
time at the Patriots, and I just feel like certain Patriots fans felt disrespected
Well,
that he
let
didn't
me
even
say
get a.
I think Bob Kraft said what he needed to say about that. And Bob Kraft basically said, he's given us everything. He thanked him. He basically built that franchise. What more do you want? I mean, and at the end of the day, we parted ways. I gave you more than what you paid me for, or what you paid me for. Now I'm leaving. I gotta give respect to the team that
He
was
got
the
that
last
flutie
team.
out of their mouth.
He got
Out of that-
out of that taste out of that mouth. That's right. So I just think, when it's time to retire, this is not gonna, right. And this is not gonna take away from the Super Bowl because neither one of his team is not in it. I
Right.
think if he would have announced it and the Bucks were in the game, it would have been a
Understood.
little more
And we just said,
distracting.
after this game, win or lose,
Right.
I'm gone. That would have
Yeah,
been good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
No, but you see that with all, with coaches, with contracts with players, they do, when the season is over, coaches get fired,
Right,
players get
Yeah,
traded.
right.
Oh, yeah,
When
we
your
know, we're
season
gonna be
is
talking
over,
about that
you're
tonight.
done, you're
Oh, we're
done.
gonna talk about that?
We
I
are.
think so.
Oh, yes, we are. Yes, we are. We are.
Mm. Women's league in sports
I
getting
mean, we
sticky.
great.
Crazy.
Throwing it out there.
Well,
Right.
before we get started, let me just say happy Black History Month to everyone.
Yes.
Okay, it was interesting that the lawsuit dropped on February 1st.
He's shady, he's petty,
I'm a little shady.
a little bit petty.
Since we're talking about the lawsuit, Danielle, do you want to go ahead and throw in your 2 cents?
Well, Dr. Danny and I were talking about salary
Mhm.
and among the coaches. And the average salary, I don't want to take her notes, but she got more. So she can back it up, because I know she done did her.
She came with the
research.
receipts.
came
She
with
always
the
does.
receipt. And I think if you look at, the salaries across the board of Black pro football coaches,
Mhm.
it's gotta be equitable. I don't know that we can put a seal on it and say that it's equitable. There certainly isn't enough. There certainly is underrepresentation. I don't think he would have bought the lawsuit unless there were some facts to back it up. I'm waiting to see the rest of the.
And it's a
facts.
class
Right.
action lawsuit.
And
Yeah,
it's a-
yeah.
so he's
That
right.
changes everything.
That's right.
Right.
You know,
So
that
he's
means there are other
representing-
people that are ready to stand with him and say that they've had the same experiences. That's the only way you can come forward.
I mean, I
With a
wonder
class
if
action. Denny Green?
If Denny Green was still around. I know that my boy, who's a sportscaster now from the Colts, he's probably not gonna sound off on it, but at the end of the day, when I looked at those numbers, like we were talking about, I said, how much money is this man losing? Because I can't understand. He's been there since 2019. He's had 2 winning seasons. Nobody's been talking about them, but then they started talking about him, and all of a sudden, he's difficult, he needs to go, and then he's being not just fired, like go, but almost seemingly blackballed from other places.
Right, right.
And so he's already making money beneath most of the average D1 college football coaches.
Yeah,
At
his
$3
salary
million.
was shocking.
$3
to me.
million.
Yeah.
So I kept wondering,
Yeah.
how can someone offer you $100,000 to lose a game? I'm like, that's jump change.
Right.
Until I saw what kind of money. he was
That's
making.
right.
And so
That's what
don't
made
get
me
me
look it
wrong,
up.
it's
Yeah.
about the money, and it's bigger, it's when you see that, Belichick makes what, 12 million a year?
Well, and we have. but
Not
that's
including
part
all
of
the
it is
bonuses and everything else.
we
Well,
do-
that's not bonuses, that is your base.
Yeah.
I mean, but I just listened to, a show on the way here where Billy Napier down there in Florida is making 52 million over 7 years. That doesn't include his 1.5 million bonus that he can get a year. So
Right.
over 7 years, that's $6 or $7
Period.
million a year. So when we think about it, it is about the money. And they are messing with people's livelihood.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's why you gotta look at it. You gotta think about, if somebody's gotta lay in the road to cover the hole or to lay over the water so that other people walk over on their back, that's what I think he's doing.
Right,
And
right.
it's not just, we're talking football, we're talking sports, but as a culture, are we not demanding the money that we deserve when we go into negotiate that contract because we want the opportunity to be at the top?
Right.
Yeah.
So there is a level of, he took the job for the $3 million. He should have demanded that. But
Right.
we need to.
Or was he
across
trying to
the
get his foot in the
board, Was
door?
he trying to get his foot in the door?
Right.
Right? So there is some piece of that he shouldn't have had to take it for 3. They should have offered him with the job demanded.
Yeah,
Right.
and but you gotta think about it. So you are in a scenario where you got 32 head coaches. You look, we've been playing football for 66 years. If you look, you can't count 10 Black coaches that's ever been in there all together.
Right.
And so I agree with you. You're worth what the market will pay you, but at that point, I could say that he said, if I get in here and I have winning seasons like
I can
he
take it
did,
away.
I'll make the money.
And we
I'll
all
pay it
know,
away.
if you
Right.
even look at things from a corporate standpoint, that happens.
And
And like,
guess
if you
what?
come in and prove yourself, then we've all been in corporate America. You come in and prove yourself, then
Then
we'll
the money will
increase.
come.
So you
Yeah.
never know what those conversations.
I
think
know,
so.
and that's the way it should be.
It should be, I want
Right.
the money up front because you know your raises are incremental.
Mhm.
You want the money up front because your raises are incremental.
And the-
Except when you're on this contract.
But I think
Okay,
there's
I got 1 winning season, I
Right.
wanna get this gone. 2 winning seasons, those, whatever those metrics are.
Right, right.
As long as
Lisa,
those-
I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, I mean, it's long reaching.
Right.
And it's very frustrating for 80% of the workforce in the NFL to be Black. And this is the representation that you have in the management. And it's disturbing at all levels. Thinking about coaches being asked to throw games puts a whole different perspective on it from a fan's point of view. How can you trust the sport? Not knowing, I mean, it's going to have such long-reaching ramifications, but it needed to be brought out into front and center, and it's heartbreaking, actually.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do you a solid. Shout out to the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if you guys heard it a couple of hours ago. Jerry said, he spoke on it. He said, we can do better. We need to do better. So I was like, I don't know. Dallas is looking good right about it.
Yeah, all right, Dallas.
What?
Well, the
Can we
question
get that?
what-
Is somebody recording that? She said that. I heard
We'll
her.
have to rewatch
I was
the
Jerry
show.
running with my one moment, but I'm like, I don't know. Every time Jerry says something, I'm
Well,
like,
yeah, I'm
we'll
with you on
see.
there.
We'll see, Jerry.
I
Okay,
just
Jerry.
don't know,
But it's
you
so
know,
it's
but
so
he makes a good
disappointing
point.
seeing what's going on, for sport that we all love so much, and for this to be happening is almost unfathomable.
I
Right.
mean, but
For me-
is it really, when we think about the fact that we're talking, we just said it's the sport that has the highest grossing televised event, right? There's so much money in and out. The people who are actually, that is me, the people who are actually running the show are multi-billionaires, right? Or high-level millionaires. This is just money in action to me. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying, why are we surprised that a corporate enterprise that creates this level of wealth, that you can't even afford to pay the players the way you do, would behave this way? This is kind of, I think, par for the course of when you start to dissect corporate America, and that's what it is. It's just a different industry within a corporate sector. What I did want to mention was the Rooney Rule. So, I'm a Giants fan, so I'm
We
like,
know.
But it's interesting to me that when that rule was implemented, since that rule has been implemented, you have not seen a huge paradigm shift, or even anything that is remotely worth mentioning in the number of coaches that have been hired for representation who are qualified.
You think it was a checkbox?
I think that's all it is. And I don't have to think that, it shows it, right? And so, and the text message is damning.
So
Yes.
are we tiptoeing around the obvious elephant that is there racism in the NFL? I mean, is there a system
I think
in this
anytime
country
you,
where there's not an element of that? So, I mean, you kind of saying, well, it's corporate America. No, but the reality is.
with the Rooney Rule, I'm not saying that.
No,
With the
no.
Rooney Rule, what I'm saying is the reason it was implemented is exactly what you're talking about.
It was implemented,
Right.
but
They're
on the
trying,
pig.
well, what they're trying to do is mandate equity. And really, the truth of the matter is, it's hard to mandate, right?
So-
It's hard to say, and I'm not saying that that there shouldn't be more representation. I think it's ridiculous that the majority of your workforce reflects this and then your leadership does not. You mean to tell me of all these people who have gone on, who have left the league, who had more experience than a John Madden had when he became a head coach for the very first time? Mr. never took never snapped it, never received a down on in the NFL ever in his life. Was injured before he ever got to play in an NFL game and went on successfully. And from that point forward, you have qualified, capable coaches that haven't even been looked at. And what I'm saying is, I absolutely agree with you. The problem is that putting a rule in effect like the Rooney Rule, all that does is says we have to see you. It doesn't mandate or make mandatory hiring. And that becomes the problem. So yeah, you get the check, you get the box check, you get the call after the decision was made, which is what Belichick basically exposed.
So Mike, you're gonna have to forgive me because it's just a nice slide in. I feel like they need to come in my luncheon next week.
You guys-
Yeah, the
Yeah,
workplace can win with diversity.
they need
Right.
it.
Just saying,
They
might
need
do
it.
it.
They might.
That would be at the Chesterfield Chamber.
I'm just saying.
Yes,
they might
ma'am.
do it.
One thing that I wanted to throw in as when you're talking about corporate America, I wanted to speak a little bit for my generation. I see a lot of my generation really enforcing change. My generation, we're not afraid to speak. We haven't been afraid to speak up. We've been coming together on a platform such as TikTok to make things happen, to spread the word fast. And I know that these are issues that will take a lot of time to eventually change, but I feel like what's up and coming has a huge influence on what's gonna happen next.
And our generation is way before because we're tired.
Yeah,
I
Jim-
understand.
We ready to take off our gloves and get our fists out there, our arms tired.
Right, do
But
something
let me
else.
just say this, though, I really do believe, when I look at it, it's not an accident, right? So you have a coach in Mike Tomlin.
Right, what a king.
15 years, never a losing season, and I remember the first year that he did not make the playoffs. I was heartbroken, but everybody was like, he needed.
Oh, people wanted his head on the
Right, he
ground.
gotta go.
He never had, I mean, so
No.
the tolerance level for people who are different in that environment, and I hate to say it, but as long as you trying to say we have to interview people, but you're not doing anything at the top.
That's what I'm
Does
saying.
anybody know anything about any non-white male, well, non-Caucasian individual that's an owner?
No,
So all of the owners out of those 32 teams.
and so you're getting what you get what you get. I will say that, I mean, even if you go back to when Dungy, I lived in Tampa Bay when Dungy was the coach, and the way he was treated and run out of Tampa Bay, and kudos to the people of Tampa Bay. It's fairly diverse area, that part of
Right,
Florida. They were livid because he had come into a program that was historically losing, right? They had not won in a long time. I think Doug Williams played for them when they were
Yeah,
doing
he did. He
when they
did
were
before
winning anything.
before the former
Exactly.
Washington team.
Exactly. And he
But didn't he
basically.
show down when he went to Colts and won the Super Bowl? I mean,
And that's my point. He came into Tampa Bay, no one was excited about that team. We were getting tickets to those games, great seats, and it was like you bought them from a $2 scalper in front
Right.
of Madison Square. That's how cheap it was to get into their games. Dungy came in, he built an entire culture. He reined in players like Warren Sapp. He really created a community culture. It brought in a new stadium. Everyone was so excited about him. He was building the team season after season. You could see the progression. And as soon as it was at a winning point, they dumped him. And literally in the middle of the night, he had to leave.
It's not just football. I mean, I'm thinking about basketball. This is going.
Better representation in basketball, though.
There's better, but still, I'm just gonna say, when you talk about you build it up and you make it winning and they hand it to someone else, to me, that is very much like corporate America. I remember when, who was it? Wasn't it Golden State?
yeah.
And what was my boy, Mark
Jackson.
Jackson? And I'm gonna tell you, he had a
Yeah,
hell of
he
a
was doing a
recruiting.
good job.
He was doing it, and then bam, they brought in
Steve Kerr.
Kerr.
Although
everybody-
Steve Kerr,
No, I ain't feeling that.
I
He
do love
just
Steve Kerr.
Okay, but I'm just, because
But
you're a
you make a good
Chicago
point.
fan.
No,
No,
because
but
of
But what I'm saying
No,
is
because
that
of a lot of
he
things that
built
Steve
that
Kerr
program.
stands
Who was
for.
talking about Golden State before Mark Jackson brought in all that talent?
Yeah,
But I will say, and the reason that I you almost hate to put it on the next guy, because one thing I will say about Steve Kerr is he has been emphatic about diversity, not just there. His father was a leader in diversity, so he comes from that space. But I absolutely agree with you. You build it up and then they move it out.
So he's, let me, I brought something to put over my mouth.
No, you're good. You're good, Dr. Danny.
Well, what I will do, ladies, is I will go ahead and give you guys a moment to go through your purses, pull out your back pocket, your apology that you wrote for me. Because last week, wait a minute, because last week, I said that Joe Burrow was going to win over Kansas City, and you all said, no, Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. And I sat here and I defended Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow, if you're listening, I defended you.
So can we just all know that?
So if you have something to say,
person,
just know.
Yeah, maybe so, but can we say that Joe Burrow's won it? Can we say that
the team didn't lose it?
Mahomes gave it away. That was a good one.
Mahomes gave it away.
Yep.
But you know what?
I was rooting for.
Look, you know, we gotta love upon our resident Gen Z young millennial.
Yes,
say,
you
good
called
job.
it. Good job.
Thank you so
You
much.
did call it.
Thank you. Words of affirmation.
Yeah.
So I do think if they can take it on the 13th, I do love a Cinderella story.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Well, you
The
already
Rams
know who
got
I'm
this.
rooting for.
I'm with you.
Come on, OBJ.
I
Come
mean,
on.
I ain't
Come
OBJ.
through,
I've got to go
OBJ.
with Von Miller because Texas representing
Von
up
Miller.
here. So.
Let's not forget to give Cup his due too.
Yeah, because
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord,
Yeah.
I'm in love.
Yeah,
I
me
was looking
too.
for me a jersey.
I didn't go that far,
doing
but
it.
yeah.
Cup's killing it. I
Yeah.
mean, he's definitely, he kind of reminds me of
He
Kelsey
got
a little
swag.
bit.
Yeah, he
He
does.
does.
That's
That's
why
right.
he reminds me of Kelsey. It's just that swag,
Oh,
it's that confidence.
Kelsey, it seemed like he came up somewhere else.
Yeah,
Right.
Kelsey
He
is
came
on
around
it.
some
I
folks.
mean,
Cooper Cup can
if Kelsey
catch.
happens to be watching this, hello.
We must have a
Living in
really
our
good
realm.
audience. We've got Joe Burrow's watching.
Hey,
Not
look.
watching.
Manifest.
Manifest. Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I will say, you were steadfast about Burrow. I don't think the Joe Burrow that you were rooting for showed up.
Okay.
I think he performed, but I really, the Chiefs that we saw the first half of the game, they went in at halftime and did not come back out.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I
But
think
they messed up that last first play on the.
Yeah.
they did.
Right.
Maybe
They didn't know how many
timeouts.
That mojo was gone.
You know the game, $100,000.
Oh,
But yeah, I felt like Mahomes didn't pull through. It was not, so, and that will be the question this week. You know, when the Rams are not playing like the Chiefs, what do you have, Burrow? Because I don't think they're gonna sit down. I don't think they're gonna lay down the second half. I don't think you're gonna, I think you're gonna see two really hungry teams.
Absolutely.
And I'm going with the Rams. Let's just go ahead and put it out there right now.
Well, I don't need to say who I'm going for because it's pretty obvious. Obviously. Lisa, what did you think? What did you think?
So here's the thing. I'm not going to pick a team because I like players
You gotta
on
get
the.
off the fence.
But I like Joe Burrows. But again, I will say Stafford is inconsistent, and if he doesn't show up,
We are not gonna give Stafford any love.
No.
Christmas all the time.
no, I'm just saying. We saw the same thing with Mahomes at the beginning of the season. He was really inconsistent. Great during the season. Last game fell apart.
Well, I mean, okay, I'm gonna tell you.
And so you
something
think Stafford's gonna be?
I think
You
he's
think he's gonna be?
too
Dude,
inconsistent.
he has been
But
living
the last-
for
So if you're
this
gonna say
moment.
that,
People have doubted him for so long.
Yeah.
Yes, but it is the Super Bowl and he's got to produce.
But isn't that Joe Burrow's story?
I knew somebody was gonna say that. I knew somebody was gonna say that. Blasey, blasey, blasey.
They've been trying him for-
Yeah.
From the beginning.
And he's,
Right.
this is his second year in the NFL.
But isn't it so good to have
Exactly. So
these
if
young
anybody
bucks
can
in the
choke,
Super Bowl?
Yeah,
It's
I
so
do-
good
I
to
do
have
like
these
that
young
there's
bucks
young
in the
guys
Super
in
Bowls
there.
with good arms, great wide
Young bucks.
receivers.
Not those old men. No, I mean,
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Those
Can
people
anybody
that are
check that for me?
35.
That part.
No,
I
no,
didn't say that.
I love what you're saying there. I agree with you. It's nice because I think what we're seeing is formation of new rivalries. And these are people who are gonna be around for a while, hopefully. And
They will.
And I think we're gonna see a lot of energy out there.
But aren't you surprised for as young as he is and only the second year, the confidence?
Yes.
I mean,
Really,
he brought
honestly.
all the confidence that you need to win in the NFL.
Yeah.
I can't take that from him, not at all.
Yeah, Joe Burrow has such an
He might be
influence.
good hungry.
I want to tell you, yeah,
I agree.
right.
Well, if defense do their job,
Well, yeah.
defense got to, they Come on.
Yeah.
And we can't forget about that Bengals offensive line.
Right.
either. So.
I mean,
Because they've been putting up plays,
they
sneaky
really
plays,
have. Yeah.
sneaky link plays.
A sneaky link.
That's what I call it.
I see somebody waving 3 fingers.
Lord have mercy. I
Oh,
can't
is
wait
that
till next
no?
season.
Is that the new high five?
Somebody
sign?
is always interrupting our flow.
Yeah.
Look at
Okay,
him.
so,
Before you wrap this up.
no, but I wasn't, but say what you gotta say.
Look, I wasn't.
No, so I'm just gonna transition, just a quick second, because we need to congratulate
Absolutely. Shout
all the high school seniors.
Yes.
Yeah.
out to your son.
Yes, I have to give a shout out to Alex, who signed in Hampton City to play baseball as a closing pitcher, and all the Elsie Bird seniors. In this environment, a COVID environment, because they're competing with college kids who get extra years of eligibility.
Yeah.
They're competing with a transfer portal where coaches can
Yeah.
pick a college student who already has played at a college level to come into their team.
Yeah,
So for high school
That's
kids to get a offer and commit.
that's right.
they
That's an
should-
That's awesome.
accomplishment.
I'm
Yep.
that's very awesome.
But Nick
Absolutely.
Saban said he's not gonna pay for the players. Did y'all hear that? You know,
Nick
because the
Saban needs to
NIL
stop.
Yeah.
is hitting it right now. Name, image, and likeness.
Yeah.
And these boys are lined up. I have a kid from Texas. Shout out to Chase Griffin of UCLA quarterback. Chase has developed his business in his junior year at UCLA to help manage players with their NIL play.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
That's
So
great.
when
That's
and it's called, I think it's Chase Griffin's Enterprises. I'm telling you,
We'll have to check that out.
check that
Right,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing.
Making that money. Listen, monetize your brand. It's
Absolutely.
pastime for
Steph
college
B
players.
is the
Yeah, I
one.
agree.
Yeah,
Steph B is your
monetize that
girl.
brand.
Steph B and Lisa, put them together, there's power duo. So ladies, real quick, yay or nay, yay or nay, the Washington Commanders?
Nay.
Nay?
Nay.
Okay.
Nay to the nay to the name.
Yay or nay?
I mean, why? There were so many things that could,
Yeah.
you know, someone even brought up, what was their name back when they used to play the Globetrotters? What was the name of their, the Generals? Wasn't it like the
Generals.
basketball team?
Yeah.
Someone said they could have revived that, the
Right.
Generals over the Commanders.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Washington Generals would have played. Wait a minute, but isn't the Generals already taken somewhere?
No, it used to be
It
their,
used to
like,
be their
their,
own thing.
their
The New
pro team.
Wasn't it a New Jersey USFL team?
That too,
Yeah.
yeah, but come on. Are
I'm
we
just
not
saying.
willing to give up the Commanders? You really fighting to hold on to that?
I know,
Yeah.
I was talking to Lisa, our PR star, that one thing that threw me a little bit was they were advertising for a month, you know, 2022.
That's
Yeah.
what it's supposed to
And
be.
it came out today, everything came out, but they didn't have everything out.
There was no big fanfare either.
There's no mascot. They said there's a mascot coming. So why wouldn't things be prepared for everything to
No.
roll out
So
on
this-
I mean,
today?
have we?
They did
do
a
we
really
know
bad
Dan
job. It
Snyder?
was leaked.
Do we know
They-
who Dan Snyder is?
Okay, you know
This is
that the
why.
traffic reporter for the local news in DC was going around the stadium and focused in and saw the Commander's name, and that's part of how it got leaked.
That is
out.
how it got leaked. I
Last
heard
night, they were
something
putting
like
it on the
that.
I mean,
windows.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So-
what you gotta think about is that's what happens when you have nepotism
yeah.
and not having the competency that it takes to have, you know, proper branding, proper management of the brand. I mean, I'm sorry, there is somebody who is slipping.
Right.
You know,
That's what happens
one day
when
we
you
can
own
have
it.
a whole show about who should sell their team.
Yeah.
I'm gonna nominate Jimmy Dolan from the New York Knicks. I'm gonna go ahead and do it right now.
Well,
Think about Jimmy D.
Steph B, that's a great note. to
Maybe,
end on.
maybe Jerry Jones will buy
You
it.
know, the Knicks is the highest
Yes.
basketball brand.
Yes,
Right,
and that's
yeah.
why he should sell it. It should be doing better.
Well, we're gonna leave it right there, ladies. We might pick that up next week. Bring your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Women Speaking Sports RBA. I'm your QB star, Mallory. You can catch us on ESPN Richmond 106.1 FM, as well as The Choice on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Follow us at Women Speaking Sports RBA. Thank you to Mike King, the Hilton, Jerry Howard, and Rob White. We will see you next week. Ladies, we hit every topic today.